It's Gina with Peonies of America. Hope everyone's doing well. I know you can see them. I want you to be able to see the pots. I'm going to do a video on relocating herbaceous peonies today. What I did is I went out to a 2-year-old cutting garden that I had, and I have recently put horses out there. So I wanted to save as many as I could before the eyes were completely stomped off or broke off. So I got about 25 out today because we had a really good rain, about an inch of rain. So I went ahead and was able to dig them up with a fork, and they came right up. So I had to cut away the landscape fabric a little bit because I had laid landscape fabric out there also. But I've got 25 up. I've already repotted several. You can start to notice that these plants here, these peony plants were in all winter. I wintered them over in these pots, and so they have not moved or been dug up at all. And they're beautiful, they're upright, they look healthy. These plants here, if you can see them, they're starting to wilt. Peonies really go through a relocating shock. Some of them do not like it, they don't make it. Some of them will wilt and droop their heads and be really dramatic about it. So you just have to kind of baby them along, and they definitely, if you're relocating and you're going to, even in the ground, put them in the ground or in pots, just watch them daily. Definitely give them a good drink of water when you relocate them, unless the ground is saturated. Then just make sure that they don't just dry out. But don't panic if you see them wilting over. I've relocated many over the week, and I had one that had 4 buds on it. This one has got a bud on it also, and all 4 of the buds just drooped their heads, and I thought I had lost them. But just give them a little bit of time to root back up, and they will strengthen back up, and they will stand upright. Now many of them will not. Some will just droop down, and you'll think that they've died, you've lost them. Just leave them. Wait until the fall, go back and cut off the old foliage, and then check down in there, check down in the dirt and see if you can find those eyes. It's happened to me many times, y'all. And it's so shocking, just like the video I did before of those peonies coming up out of the ground. I didn't even know they were there. Bindweed had taken over and pushed them down in the ground and completely covered them. Since we had such a hard freeze, it killed some of that bindweed, and the roots were able to poke back up. And so what I did is I cleaned those out, and those will be plants that I relocate because I believe they were probably been pushed down too far. Now many of the plants that I did go out and get did not have any blooms on them. They were 2-year-old plants, had no buds on them, nothing. It's because they got smushed down too far. So that's why I dug them up, and I've relocating them. I'm gonna put them in these pots. They're 20-gallon pots. I've added my bone meal. I always use bone meal. And what I've done is I'm just gonna take some roots, and I'll show you what they look like. Really nice plants. They have a nice root to them. Here are their roots right here. Really nice root. I have tried to pull away as many of the weeds out of there as possible. I had to be very careful because some of them are not weeds. But anyway, this is a nice, very healthy 2-year-old Sarah Bernhardt plant that I'm relocating, and I'm going to over summer them basically in pots. Now you can over summer these, or actually just put them right back into the ground. And they'll do the same thing in the ground. They'll droop their head and they'll act like they're drama queens, and you'll think that you've lost them, but just give them a little time. Herbaceous peony plants are very hardy. It takes a lot to really destroy one of these plants. I think the way that I've noticed that them being destroyed is too much water. So anyway, so I'm in this pot here. I'm going to just dig down, and I'm not going to worry about depth or anything. I just want to save these plants until fall, and then I'm going to dig these back up, and they are going to go in the ground out in the cutting garden. So I'm going to make a nice deep hole I want to make sure the roots are very comfortable. And the soil is very, very light soil with compost in it. It's really loose. I want the roots to be able to grab hold and grow. And that's it. I'm just going, and I'm going to try to put 2 to 3 plants per 20-gallon pot. But yeah, I dug up many. Here's one that has two blooms on it. And they already have all the sticky stuff on them and they're ready to bloom. But more than likely, they could go through a shock, a relocating shock. And they might not. But anyway, I'm gonna set them in these pots and I'm gonna keep going. I've got many more I wanna get in, give them a good drink of water, and we'll come back and we'll check on them in a month or two. But I do have them in 6 hours of full sun, and then they will immediately go into a filtered shade for the afternoon. I'm in grow zone 7B, southern Oklahoma, so it gets extremely hot and the winds are very, very strong here. So I do want to protect them in the afternoon sun down this far south. Thanks everyone. Have a great